Earlier today, NPR exclusively reported that the Trump White House is seeking to replace the beleaguered and incompetent Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, after it was revealed that Hegseth shared classified military information to his wife, his brother, and his personal attorney. Then the White House tripped over themselves to deny this reporting, but then a major conservative commentator corroborated the initial reporting using his own sources. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, it's a case of he said, she said. We're going to dive into this, but just for context, NPR says exclusive. The White House is looking to replace Pete Hegseth as Defense Secretary. Then the White House denies reports that it plans to replace Hegseth. But then a prominent conservative commentator, Erick Erickson, says they are looking. Conservative host confirms NPR report on Pete Hegseth that the White House denied. Okay, so that's the overall overview. Let's dive deeper into it. So according to NPR, the White House has begun the process of looking for a new leader at the Pentagon to replace Pete Hegseth, according to a U.S. official who was not authorized to speak publicly. This comes as Hegseth is again mired in a controversy over sharing military operational details in a group chat. Deja vu. The defense secretary is under fire after revelations that he shared classified information in a group chat with his wife, brother, and lawyer, according to the official. The source said that Hegseth used Signal messaging app on his personal smartphone, detailing minute-by-minute classified information about airstrikes on Houthi targets in Yemen. It happened at about the same time in March that Hegseth shared similar details with top White House officials in a different Signal chat group that accidentally included a journalist. That leak, hours before the airstrikes hit, could have endangered U.S. pilots if that information about the timing of the strikes was intercepted by U.S. adversaries. Already, the Houthis have twice shot down American Predator drones. When White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt denied that there's actually an effort to replace Hegseth, posting on X that Trump stands strongly behind him, speaking to reporters at the White House, Trump backed Hegseth and said concerns over the Signal chats are a waste of time. Hegseth had denied wrongdoing at the White House user event earlier Monday. Hegseth was likely referring to 4 senior advisors who left the Pentagon abruptly last week. Former Defense Department spokesperson John Oliot resigned and then published an opinion piece calling the past month at the Pentagon a full-blown meltdown of infighting that's hurting Donald Trump. 3 other Pentagon advisors, Caldwell, Carroll, and Selnick, were escorted out of the Pentagon and accused of leaking information to the press. The trio then put out a joint statement on X, calling their dismissal unconscionable and saying they've not even been told what they stand accused of leaking. So again, this is the overall NPR reporting. Some of it regurgitates information that we discussed in a previous video, but the crucial piece here is that the official who spoke to NPR, who was not authorized to speak publicly, said that the White House is seeking to replace Hegseth. Now, this prompted this, according to Axios. Trump on Monday defended Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth amid reports he's looking to replace the cabinet minister. Asked by reporters at the White House Easter egg roll if he still has confidence in Hegseth, Trump said, "He's doing a great job. Ask the Houthis how he's doing." Trump called worries over Hegseth's sharing of sensitive information a waste of time. White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt doubled down. She said, the NPR story is total fake news based on one anonymous source who clearly has no idea what they're talking about. As Trump said this morning, he stands strongly behind Pete Hegseth. So you would think, okay, that's it. He said, she said. Then Erick Erickson steps into the fray. They are looking. Conservative host confirms NPR report on Pete Hegseth the White House denied. The White House vehemently denied an NPR report Monday that the process of replacing Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth had begun, but conservative radio host Erick Erickson posted a series of tweets insisting the story was valid. Erickson posted several tweets Monday afternoon that pushed back on the White House's efforts to rebuff the NPR report, citing his own sources among White House staff as portraying an administration that was internally divided on the topic. He hedged his prediction somewhat, tweeting that there were no guarantees that the defenestration of Hegseth would actually happen because Trump was still leaning against it. Still, Erickson was adamant that people within the administration were looking at possible SecDef replacements. Let's take a look. NPR is correct, he says. No guarantees they'll pull the trigger on it, but yes, they are looking. I'll be absolutely shocked if this is true, said one. Erick Erickson said, be shocked. Erick Erickson says, just to be clear here, it's not Trump, but those around him who expect more shoes to drop that turn Trump against Hegseth, and they're trying to get ready for it. Here's what I know. People in the White House are looking at possible SecDef replacements. Trump is not inclined to replace the SecDef. People in the White House believe more is coming on Hegseth that will turn Trump towards wanting a replacement. Erickson shrugged off some of the critical responses attacking his tweets, characterizing the responses as stupid and whining, as well as pointing out that his critics did not have to follow him or read his tweets. Someone says, it's shameful. Erickson in lockstep with the fake news NPR. Erickson said, I'm sorry you're stupid. Then someone said, nobody is whining, just pointing out that we're in an information war and you don't seem to understand the battlefield. Erickson says, sure, whatever. White House staff tells me it's true, but it's not Trump, just at the staff level. You can unfollow if you don't like it. It's not some information war bullshit, just a statement of fact you don't like. Someone else said, it's a contextless tidbit that is meaningless, except as fodder for furthering a bogus story that's being pushed by some trying to oust Hegseth. The more they can fan the smoke, the better. That's the definition of information warfare. Where have you been the last 8 years? Erickson says, whatever. You can unfollow. I don't care about your opinion. And if that tweet upsets you, you're just going to stay in an aggravated state following me. But I can mute your whining. Whining at me because you don't like a tweet just makes you seem immature. You chose to follow me. Mediaite reached out apparently to him for comment, but did not receive a reply. But here's the other thing. There are signs that the ground is caving under Pete Hegseth. A couple of prominent Republicans, 2 Republican congressmen, have criticized Pete Hegseth in the aftermath of this additional information. So one, House Republican comes out swinging against amateur person Pete Hegseth and suggests he should be fired. Representative Don Bacon became the first House Republican to suggest that Hegseth is no longer fit to keep his job. Okay? So, Bacon, a retired Air Force general, added, I like him on Fox, but does he have the experience to lead one of the largest organizations in the world? That's a concern. If it's true he had another signal chat with his family about the missions against the Houthis, it's totally unacceptable, Bacon added in his remarks to Politico. Quote, I'm not in the White House, and I'm not going to tell the White House how to manage this, but I find it unacceptable, and I wouldn't tolerate it if I was in charge. Russia and China put up thousands of people to monitor all these phone calls at the very top, and the number one target besides Trump would be the Secretary of Defense. Russia and China are all over his phone, and for him to be putting secret stuff on his phone is not right. He's acting like he's above the law, and that shows an amateur person. Brutal. Bacon chairs the subcommittee on cyber issues and has been a fierce critic of Trump's recent firing of General Timothy Howe, the commander of the United States Cyber Command at the NSA. But it looks like there's a meltdown going on, Bacon concluded. Quote, there's a lot of smoke coming out of the Pentagon, and I gotta believe that there's fire somewhere. Yikes. But it's not just Don Bacon. Let's take a look here. Play this clip here of Representative Jimenez. So this is Carlos Jimenez, and he's being interviewed by CNN, and not quite as sternly as Don Bacon, but he also seems to call out Pete Hegseth.
To you about some news here in Washington. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth reportedly used a second Signal group chat to discuss sensitive military plans with members of his family, his lawyer. You called the first leaked Signal chat a, quote, huge mistake. Do you have confidence in Secretary Hegseth's judgment?
Well, the question is this chat prior to the one that was leaked out, or did he continue to use the Signal chat, group after that happened? And so I'm not sure the timing of it was. If it was something that he did prior to, okay, he should have learned his lesson now with what happened with the Mike Waltz incident. But if he did it afterwards, yeah, I would have concerns because it's already been burned by it once. I don't think you need to get burned by it twice. I think you should learn from your mistakes.
And I understand your point about the timing, but the principles of the issue don't change in terms of discussing sensitive military details on Signal, particularly with people like his wife, who, as far as I know, doesn't have a security clearance.
Right.
I'm not sure, but I don't believe she does. Does that concern you?
If in fact he did discuss what's called top secret or things that only need to be discussed inside a SCIF with his wife, if she doesn't have that kind of security briefing, yes, it would concern me. And it should be a lesson to everybody in the administration and everybody actually in the federal government. A lot of the federal agencies use Signal because it's supposed to be an encrypted, very secure application. The fact that these things are being leaked now call into question how secure Signal really is.
Right, how secure Signal is, and we know that foreign hackers try to get into the phones of top officials. There's all kinds of concerns from intelligence officials. Congressman Carlos.
So there you have it. An increasing number of high-profile Republican lawmakers are breaking rank with Trump and calling out Pete Hegseth. So again, is it true? I don't know. Donald Trump is obviously not somebody who, it's not out of loyalty to Hegseth, okay? Donald Trump is loyal to no one and nothing, but he wants to own the libs, and if the libs want Hegseth to go, even if for perfectly valid reasons, Donald Trump is going to dig his heels in to the best of his ability unless Hegseth continues to prove himself to be more of a liability than the benefit Trump personally enjoys from owning the libs. That's the calculus at play here. But there's exclusive reporting by NPR. Yes, they are a credible news outlet. Is it possible that the source is wrong? Yes. Is it possible that this will motivate Trump to double down even more? Yes. But Erick Erickson, a prominent conservative with his own sources in the White House, is corroborating what NPR has to say. So it seems that there's compelling evidence that the White House is indeed seeking to replace Pete Hegseth, even if Donald Trump is not there yet. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.